Welcome to the Film Florida podcast. I'm John Lux, and I'm the Executive Director of Film Florida. Before we get to our interview, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the Film Florida podcast. If you're not already a member of Film Florida, please consider joining at filmflorida.org. The Film Florida podcast is free, but if you like what you hear, please consider going to our website and donating $20.21 for our 2021 fundraising campaign. We also have a Film Florida merchandise page. Visit filmflorida.creator-spring.com to purchase Film Florida t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, and more. The Slamdance Film Festival is a showcase for raw and innovative filmmaking that lives and bleeds by its mantra, by filmmakers, for filmmakers. And they're coming to Florida. Slamdance Miami will celebrate emerging filmmakers from Central and South America, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Florida in an open-air, COVID-sensitive festival experience at the North Beach Bandshell in Miami, October 28th through 30th. The festival will then continue with a virtual component from October 31st through November 7th. Today we talked to two people from the Slamdance Miami team, Taylor Miller and Ronald Baez. Here's my conversation with Taylor and Ronald from Slamdance Miami. So Slamdance Miami aside, let's talk origin stories. Taylor, you go first. What's your backstory?
First off, thank you for the opportunity. I'm a big fan of Film Florida and also of Ron Baez. So I couldn't be happier to be doing this today. So thank you. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. That's where I was born and raised. Both of my parents are, when they tell stories, it's an art form, right? And even my my grandparents, it was something that when I was growing up, to really listen, not only for me to listen to the stories that my grandfather would talk about when he was in the war, but it was the inflections, right? And it was the space in between what he said, the little things that you pick up on that you find yourself years later dedicating your life to loving those same things and loving those same stories. My background is in photojournalism and writing.
Okay.
So I went to school out in California. I got my, master's actually in Switzerland and PhD in communications. And all that to say, the story, right, has been the thread throughout all of that. I am a filmmaker. I'm a documentary filmmaker. It's now in very close to, I think, being completed. There's two directors, Michael Lambert and Jerome Scott. I was the director of photography on it. And also we had producer Michelle Curtis from Winter Haven area. We did this about 2.5 years on the city of Detroit, a docuseries that's in the process of coming together and being pitched. And every 3 months, for about 8 or 9 days, we, set off to Detroit, and now I'm in Miami, and but there is a connection because Mike Lambert, he lives here in Miami, and the company that I love and have worked with, Harbor Heights Entertainment. Jerome is, he's a Florida boy, but he's out, he's a director out in Los Angeles. But what is it? 2019, we moved from LA for series of reasons, and all really positive and great. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't even know about Slamdance Miami when we moved. Mm-hmm. It was a phone call that I got, and it was like, "Hey, are you in Miami?" I said, "Yeah." What's going on? Because I'd programmed. I'd been a programmer for many years at Slamdance in LA.
Okay.
And they said, "Well, that's the funniest thing. We're in the process of doing Slamdance Miami. Would that be something that you're?" The rest is history. So.
Oh, that's funny. And some in our audience would probably remember Ronald from the very first edition of our Film Florida Friday series. But for those that didn't catch that edition, tell us about your path in the industry.
Thanks for having me again, John. And I also appreciate Taylor a great deal, and Slamdance as well. I was born and raised in Miami, so I kind of fell into filmmaking. It's something that my childhood friends were doing, and at first I had no interest in it. I was a musician, and then just kind of fell into what they were up to, and we just started making stuff. It just started off very innocently, and began working commercial projects and stuff like that in my early 20s, actually up north, and then came down. I went to school. I'd gone to school in Boston, so I was working up there, and I was working in New York, and then came back down here. I decided I just wanted to make things, and storytelling was just kind of a really big part of growing up for me. Stories are a very particular kind of thing in immigrant communities, and so you get raised in this circle of stories where people are constantly trading fors on, what the old country was like and things they remember, and it just becomes part of that culture of living in this space with a bunch of immigrants surrounding you. So it just kind of was a natural fit. It's just a bunch of childhood friends of mine just kind of got together and decided, hey, why don't we start a collective of filmmakers? We had seen some other collectives do some really interesting things, and we thought that was kind of interesting. We wanted to make our own stories, and just kept doing that for a number of years, just making these really bad films until they got better. That's what happened. And then eventually we started kind of just getting better at our craft and getting some attention, sending films to some decent festivals. And just slowly but surely, eventually kind of sculpted out a career, unexpectedly, I'd say. Very grateful for that.
Yeah. And now, Taylor, Slamdance is new to Miami, but it's not new at all, overall. For those that aren't familiar with the origins of Slamdance, give us a little history and tell us what your role is with the organization now.
Slamdance, as Ron can attest to this, was born out of rejection and disruption. And I say that in the greatest way.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, in the 90s, a small group of filmmakers who had submitted their films to Sundance, they did not get in, and they were, received the rejection letter, and they came together and said, "Let's, I still want to see your film. Yeah, okay, I still want to see yours. I think I know some other people that would love to see. Let's. We don't have a lot. Let's do this." And so it has become really a staple, not only of independent filmmaking, but I think one of the major things that sets Slamdance apart is that it's for filmmakers by filmmakers. The festival is entirely run by programmers that are filmmakers, and that are alumni.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's a few people that they worked on a project, or they were very close to the project, and they reach out and say, "Hey, I'd love to program." So there's a weaving together, right, of past and present, and obviously future, and that's one of the major foundations, right? And it's something that now these just major names
Mm-hmm.
in filmmaking. You get Christopher Nolan. He's a Slamdance alum. You have Lena Dunham. Her first short film. Jared Hess, Napoleon Dynamite. It's Lynn Shelton. She was really phenomenal. So you've got Steven Soderbergh and Jonathan Demme and all that. But the thing is that it circulates around a need and a discussion, right, from one filmmaker to the other about how do we share our work, and how can my peers, if they're judging, if they're programming, what does that open up, and how does that start a new, I think a new conversation that is really, really important, and so that's been going on for, since the 90s, right? It truly is like, it's like family. The other thing I think too, just to say, is that Slamdance is sort of known for taking risks with films, right? And directors and writers. And so, there's a film that I always I find myself talking about it a lot. It's called The Audition, and it's a short film in Slamdance a few years ago, and I was on the narrative shorts programming team. And this film came in, and it really blew us away. And we started looking into it, and I think it was made for maybe $250. And the only reason I bring that up is because that's important, right? Because for us, it's not about the most perfect short film. It's not about the most polished, right? It's about that thing where you literally, I've had the opportunity, and I really think it's a blessing. It's a gift that I've been able to see things, being a programmer for Slamdance, and meet filmmakers that I can honestly say I've never in my life thought of that idea, nor did I think of, if I thought of that idea, how to translate it, in a way that was bolted into inclusivity and accessibility. But it's raw, right? And it's rugged, and it's definitely, it's a disruptor. It's something that we champion and fight for. We're the platform, right? But it's their stories that
right. Yeah. And what's your role within Slamdance Miami now? What's the specific title?
Yeah. So the specific title is Festival Manager of Slamdance Miami. Slamdance Miami is something that I think really celebrates not only the present, but the future of Slamdance for us. I mean,
right. Yeah, and then Ronald, and I don't know you that well, but I know you well enough that prior to your relationship specifically with Slamdance, I'm sure you were familiar with the group. As a filmmaker, what were your impressions of Slamdance?
I've been rejected by Slamdance 5 times.
All right, guys, I'm gonna just hop off, okay? But listen, let's be in touch for sure. And you guys are doing great things. No, I'm just.
Here's is really interesting, and this is where actually my relationship with Slamdance was very unique for me in terms of my relationship with film festivals. Not because I got rejected 5 times. As a filmmaker, you get used to rejection very quickly. It's just it's built into the DNA of making movies. So that's not the big deal. The big deal is that Slamdance was probably the only rejection letter that turned me on. We were talking about this the other day, Taylor and I. The first rejection letter I got from Slamdance didn't feel like a rejection letter. It was actually a very confusing experience because I had gotten rejected from Sundance too. And the rejection from Sundance felt like, yeah, you're not screening here. And the rejection from Slamdance felt like, yo, we know you can do better than this. So we're not screening until you show me your best. It felt like a challenge. And this is years before I had any idea Taylor existed or Peter existed. This is just me being a filmmaker submitting to Slamdance. Sure. And every time I submitted, I would get rejected. And I would get this very heartfelt letter. But what I understood the story of Slamdance to be was exactly what Taylor said. It's a bunch of filmmakers who had experienced the same rejection. For some reason, that's built into the substance of what Slam does. At least that was my experience reading their rejection letters, which I read the rejection letters I get. I don't just read the first sentence and move on. And reading their rejection letters, it felt like my peers were talking to me. It felt like they were like, hey, you can do better than this. I want to see better than this. And I was like, okay. And I saw it as a challenge, right? I'm gonna make another movie. And there was an encouragement that was hard to find elsewhere with the literally hundreds of rejection letters I've received. Slamdance has always kind of stood on its own when I've received the rejection letter from them. And then I got an opportunity to program for them. It really just kind of materialized out of nowhere. They had wanted to meet a couple of people who were kind of working in the community And please notice I didn't say the industry. I said the community. It's a different concept.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I walked into the meeting and I have very strong feelings about my community. I live here. I'm from here. I grew up here. And I feel very entitled to speak my opinion about Miami. And so I walked in and I was like, here's where I think you can mess up. And here's where I think you can make all kinds of mistakes. And here's why I don't trust you necessarily. And it wasn't the most, that was just very straightforward. And then their reception of that, was very unexpected for me, just because what I perceived as an outside entity coming in and having all of these different, opportunities and putting a platform together for Miami filmmakers or for filmmaking from the city to highlight the city. Immediately, I get cynical, but they were like, "Hey, tell us more about why you think, we should run it a certain kind of way, and we want to hear from other people too." And that was really cool. So what I felt as a programmer was that I was surrounded by my peers. Kind of ironically, the same thing I felt reading the rejection letters. And I was like, oh, this culture of filmmakers talking to filmmakers that I just kind of felt and just intuitively felt part of that rejection letter I had read several times before I knew this existed. It is there. It really is just built into the DNA of that. And having the opportunity to be on the other side of that, we had the same exact experience. And it was a real privilege to be able to confirm my suspicions that when they sent me a rejection letter, it wasn't a rejection, it was a challenge. It was my peers talking to me. And then as a programmer, that's exactly how I felt when I sent those rejection letters. So when Taylor says Slamdance was born from rejection, I can't speak for Slamdance, but I can speak for my relationship with Slamdance. That's exactly right.
That's a really cool story. And Taylor, Slamdance Miami, it's been a process to get to this point. Talk about that. Talk about how the idea came about and what it's been like to this point, and then specifically why Miami?
I feel like it has been a bit of an epic journey, years in the making, right? And Sandy Leiterman, who I adore, and anyone that I know that knows her, they also adore her.
Great.
God bless Sandy Leiterman.
God bless Sandy. Yeah. I feel like she needs her own day. You know what I'm saying? Dude. I mean, it's like we got Earth Day and we got Sandy Day. And she's just among many things. She's such a champion for storytelling and for coming up with ideas and concepts that really can bring the community together. And she had a conversation with Peter Baxter, who is the president and co-founder of Slamdance, and this was a long time back, and said, I think that Miami and Slamdance have more in common than you would think, and I think that that Slamdance should be in Miami. That there should be obviously a smaller festival started so many years ago. That's in Park City, but there's so much going on in Miami. And so Peter came to Miami, and it was a pretty fast realization of absolutely, And you said, why Miami? I mean, every day that I live here, I learn more about it. I want to learn more about it, but I'm also learning about it because there are so many, as Ron is not only a dear friend, but someone who I trust completely with telling me not only about Miami and filmmaking, but also the nuances of the various pieces of Miami and how there is a rawness and a rebellion and a rejection and a disruption and an authenticity to Miami. The diversity of Miami is always already present.
Right.
It does not initiate a need to go elsewhere. It is here. That is something that has not only always been important, but I feel like, and Ron and I have spoken about this, it's only becoming more important and absolutely necessary to know the stories of Miami, to support the stories of Miami, and to get behind a city that is, it's beyond complex, right? I don't pretend to have a way to simplify, nor do I want to, it's
right.
But for me, I think it's the future of filmmaking. It's the intersectionality, right, of authenticity and accessibility and diversity. And it's that rawness, that I think has really been that a collaborative staple. I mean, our first intention, right, was that this will be about the community. We just want to provide another platform for stories and for content.
And Ronald, I want to take that back over to you, because in doing research about Slamdance in general, and then of course specifically Slamdance Miami, there's been a lot of talk about how the event is really integrating itself into South Florida. It's not just a film festival that happens to be in Miami. There's a conscious effort to make it part of Miami. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think it really goes back to the first meetings that I was a part of, or that maybe were had. I remember Taylor and Peter Baxter were meeting with folks in the community, and like we all kind of knew most of each other. Miami's not the world's biggest film community, so it's easy to know other people.
Except there were actually a few people where you may have known each other, but for some of them, it was the first time they'd all been literally together. Like,
yeah, it's cool. It's hard not to know like really cool work in Miami. It's like it's a relatively small community, and so we all kind of knew of each other, but we had never shared space. And so here we were talking to what we perceived of as these strangers, and they were asking us these really integral questions. But like their questions had nothing to do with like industry. Their questions had to do with like, so if you had to represent Miami, what do you think is missing from the representation of Miami in film that you think is a huge part of what Miami is? And you'd be like, you don't want to talk about press or something? Like, this is what you want to talk about? Like, and so it was man interesting. It was kind of built in, and the entire programming team is a Miami programming team. Every single person is a Miami filmmaker, a Miami programmer, which is there's a lot of bros in the sense that there's a lot of bro. Like it's very Miami kind of vernacular. And you get this real authenticity. I think that Taylor and Peter, they were sincerely seeking to find a platform, or to create a platform for the city and for what the city is. I think that what Taylor said about the rebelliousness of Miami, I had made a comment that had ended up in some article about Slam Miami, where I was like, Miami and Slamdance are kind of made for each other. Miami is a city of rebels in a real serious and substantial kind of way. It takes a lot to decide that you are going to exist in a space where you are automatically othered. And that is most of the city, whether you're talking about natives of the land, or you're talking about people who decided to literally get up, leave everything they know and everything they love and be like, nah, I'm gonna go make it somewhere else. It takes a serious rebellious soul to live in this city. And more than anything, I don't think that rebelliousness is brought forth from anger. I think it's brought forth from hope. And the expression of that rebellion often can be like expressed through the acknowledgement that hope is in and of itself a guiding force for a lot of the city. Miami's a really unique place, not necessarily in its racial or cultural diversity, though it is. But having grown up here, that's not how I see it, because I was like, Black and brown people are everywhere. That's my Monday. But more like, I grew up around people who thought that tomorrow might be defined by the actions of today, and that today is defined by the hope we felt yesterday. And that to me is normal. I feel like that's not normal once I left and I understood how other people live. And I was like, yeah, to constantly be the other, to be constantly rejected in some way, to feel like you are never the one, but rather the other, and to be driven by that rebelliousness. That was not new to me. It was new to me seeing Slam kind of be interested and then making the connection in my mind and being like, oh yeah, these are also a bunch of rebels. And suddenly it just felt organic. Like, yeah, if they're willing to dedicate themselves to helping us tell our stories, this will work really well. And lo and behold, they were, which was very surprising to me, because you get cynical fast, especially with a large organization. And you're like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, they were just so genuine and sincere and interested.
It takes guts and commitment and trust to go to a place that you're not at and go to the locals like you and kind of put their reputation in your hands and trust that you're gonna, guide them properly.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. This is gonna sound bad, but it's the truth. I never thought of it that way. Like I always thought of it.
All right, so once again, I'm gonna hop off.
Yeah.
And you guys, you guys are great though. You guys are just keep it.
I always saw it from that perspective. I always saw it from my perspective, which is I mean, it's just my shortcoming, right? But like I always saw it from the perspective of like, oh, I'm from Miami and here comes this big platform. How can I make sure that my city is represented? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's genuinely represented in a way that I can get behind. But to be honest with you, it's just like their sincerity.
Yeah.
They really did want, and we have built a program that is genuinely representative of the city, that really does give a sense of who Miami is. And the whole time they showed a deference to the people I grew up with and the people that I love, that I grew to admire and greatly respect. Though I had never thought of it from that perspective. It's true. It takes a lot of trust.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think also just saying that for me, that there's a responsibility, right? For Peter and I coming in when he flew in, and I live here, and so but coming into the space at the O Cinema, which we love Kareem. Kareem's a Slamdance alum. He, and now he's the New Times best director, and just an incredibly genuine person. He let us come into the O and gave us that space to sit and to talk with members of the community. And for me, because this is many months in the making, and despite the pandemic and all of the things that we came up against, if it ever veered away from community, if anyone had a suggestion, an outsider, it was our responsibility to the community and to these creators and storytellers that we will not waver on that. This is our responsibility to give, if we're able to provide a platform. It's not about saying this is the story to tell and this is the content we're looking for. Here's the platform. Show us your stories. When you submit, trust us, show us your life. And on our end, we will do our very best to do the right thing and to not only provide a platform, now we're able to do this in person. We're able to do this in person at the North Beach Miami Band Show. We've had 2 major times when it was originally canceled.
Right.
And we went back. Now it's postponed. We had a date. It was pushed again. So there's a trust there with the filmmakers who have submitted. None of this is possible without these community members and opening up to us and saying, let's be vulnerable together. Let's do this. Let's go in, But the programmers, the local Miami programmers, which are educators from arts organizations, obviously filmmakers, and the filmmakers that submitted, we've got 18 films from 9 countries over 3 days. And I can say that I haven't ever been so proud of a group that I've worked with and the obstacles that we've come up against, that when we put that program together, there were some big feelings there. It was just one of those moments that you hope to, and that we did have, right? But you hope to have in your life when we just want to do this,
Mm-hmm.
just want to do Slamdance Miami, and to be able to finally do it so soon. Wow. I mean, it's a pride, and it's got nothing to do with me, and it's got nothing to do with Peter. And it's just, it's got everything to do with Miami, with our programmers, with our filmmakers. And this is what we said we would do. It's not easy. Were there detours? Yep. Was there this, that, and the other? But pretty soon we're going to be able to screen some of these stories that otherwise wouldn't be seen here, and that's the thing, right?
Taylor, in addition, I want to get into the films a little bit more. In addition to all of this, Slamdance has a really cool initiative called Slamdance Unstoppable. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so Slamdance Unstoppable is it's one of the most important things that I've ever been a part of. Slamdance Unstoppable it's a program within Slamdance that is for filmmakers with visible and non-visible disabilities. And Unstoppable premiered during the virtual Slamdance Festival. It's crucial to not just Slamdance, but it is a crucial program for filmmaking, for storytelling, and for these questions of accessibility and inclusivity. Slamdance Unstoppable is possible because of a local Miami badass filmmaker who I adore, and her name is Juliet Romeo. And that's her real name. Look, she was born Juliet Romeo. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, brought on years later. And she's a phenomenal documentary filmmaker. She's a writer. She has severe sickle cell. She is a sickle cell advocate. Hell, she's an advocate for so many people and so many communities. She, through a woman named Joanne Butcher, worked with her, gave a proposal to Peter Baxter. And that proposal was that this is not something that's important, right, in the industry. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely necessary. Born in Trinidad, lives in Miami now, and has been a beacon of many sorts to not only Slamdance, but to creators of all levels. Slamdance Unstoppable started with 5 programmers, all of which have visible or non-visible disabilities. Now, in its what we're calling season 2, there are several alumni from last year's Unstoppable that are now programming. It's a dedication and it's a responsibility to creators of all types, and no matter what they're going through in their life, to do our very best, again, to create a platform, right, for them to tell their own stories. For example, one thing that the team was very strong about, and again, it's not about me, it's not about Peter. This is this is Juliet Romeo and Asha Chai Chang, Chris Furby, who's a Slamdance alum, Gabriel Cordell, who's a Slamdance alum. His film, Roll With Me, went on Ava DuVernay's, production company Array, picked it up for distribution. And, back to Chris Furby, his disease with Huntington's. It's called Huntington's Dance, and it was a feature. And then we have Steve Way, who is not only just an incredible person, but he's also the star of Raimi on Hulu. They said, okay, look, one of the rules that we have to have is that for Unstoppable, we cannot have short films where an able-bodied person is portraying a disabled person. That was very important to them and to the team. And I'm beyond thrilled to say that we will have 2 films at Slamdance Miami that they were not submitted to Unstoppable, but they're Unstoppable films, right? And so the first one is called Stunned, I Remain Alert, and the second is called La Voci. And we're just over the moon to be able to have
brilliant movies.
Yeah, I mean, and Juliet's so ecstatic, right? I mean, she's like, "This is my hometown," you know what I'm saying? I mean, let's do this. So
yeah. And Ronald, besides the Unstoppable films, what else can people look for from the films being showcased at Slamdance Miami?
There's an incredible uniqueness in this program. The programming team solidified through, and I think with the leadership of Taylor in particular, there's this sensitivity that she has, this ability to kind of cut through the bullshit, right? Like she's this ability to be direct and straightforward and have a conversation of substance with her programming team, but also to communicate the importance of uniqueness and storytelling and to have that kind of resonate. Her leadership led all of us to really make some incredible decisions about the kinds of stories that we wanted to showcase. There's 18 films in the program. There's not a single film on here that looks like anything I've seen. There's not a single film on here that looks like anything that is industry standard, prototypical, high production value kind of like. That's not what this is. It's 18 unique voices, 18 unique stories, 18 completely singular experiences. From the features to the shorts, it's extraordinary. I think you can find in this program an opportunity to see something completely different from a filmmaking standpoint. From a storytelling standpoint, there's so much heart here. There's so much vulnerability. There's so much accessibility to the human condition here. It really is 18 remarkable pieces of cinema that I couldn't feel not only prouder, but more privileged to have the opportunity to be part of sharing. So yeah, I think you can find more than anything, the rebelliousness that categorizes Miami in its singular category, the thing that makes it different from every place in the world. I think that's accessible in this program.
Sounds like a great lineup. And Taylor, I mentioned the dates in our intro, but give everybody all the details: where, when, how.
Absolutely,
about Slamdance Miami.
Yeah, so Slamdance Miami, it's coming. It's coming soon. It's October 28th, 29th, and 30th at the North Beach Band Shell. Check it out at on our website, slamdance.com. Or the North Beach Band Shell has the lineup for Slamdance Miami, and the first feature will begin Thursday, October 28th at 6 p.m. So doors will open at 5, and Friday it'll begin I think at 5:30. The doors will open. It'll go till about 11. Get two features. a night. And then Saturday is very special as well. We've got the shorts, two shorts blocks. We're going to start Saturday at 1:00. A very, very important and incredible documentary called Parkland Rising with Cheryl McDonough, who's a Florida native. And I've actually just heard from her a couple of days ago, and it's very possible that some of the subjects from that documentary, Ron will be able to be a part of the Q&A.
That's powerful, man. Yeah.
So, and obviously that is about the events that occurred at the school in Parkland. And the response that the students, the way that they rose up and spoke back in so many ways. And then, our opening night film will be Malpaso at 8:00 on Thursday night. And then the closing night film will be The Border. And that will be, I believe, at 8:45 p.m.
And then there's a virtual component afterwards, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So starting October 31st through, it'll run for 7 days. And it's it will be a virtual platform where you'll be able to see the lineup there and be able to, if you can't be here, it's okay. Now everything is homogenous anyway, right? So you can, but yeah, we will be having an online component, and that'll be, it'll start on October 31st and go for 7 days.
It's funny because you say that you say titles of films, and I'm like, that's one of the best films we've ever seen. And then you say another one, and I'm like, that's one of the best films we've ever seen.
I know. And it's not just us, because people are like, I've never seen something that, it's,
yeah, you were like, Malpaso's the opening film, and I'm like,
you're like, I've never seen anything like that. I've literally I'm like, what?
Yeah, and then like, The Border is closing. I'm like, that's such a dope movie. Like, it's like every single movie in this program is so dope, man.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And
what
shout
luck.
out, a shout out
What
to
incredible.
Just all the local, all of our local programmers that that made this happen. I mean, that's incredible.
For sure. What luck to have such a great programming team. What luck to have such incredible submissions.
Yeah.
It really did feel like lightning kept striking on this one.
For sure. Yeah.
So Taylor and Ronald, I know you both have a lot going on with the film festival coming up, so I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the Film Florida podcast. And of course, we sincerely appreciate the support that Slamdance Miami has given to Film Florida. So thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, John. It's our honor.
Thanks so much for having us, man.
Genuinely.
Thanks for listening to the Film Florida podcast. For more information about Film Florida, go to filmflorida.org or visit our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you're not already a member, please consider joining at filmflorida.org. If you like what you hear on the podcast, please consider going to our website and donating $20.21 for our 2021 fundraising campaign. Check out the Film Florida merchandise at filmflorida.creator-spring.com. And please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast.